Oh my goodness, does that great.
British English is the superior form of the language, the pure form of the language.
We see our language, our accent, our culture being diluted by Americanisms.
Beyond language even, American enthusiasm is something that bugs British people.
Normalcy, for us Brits, is not a normal word.
We are so excited to be doing this reaction video today because we're huge fans of Magenta Otter Travels.
There's a link in the description to her channel and to the full-length video.
For some context, we are two Brits who actually live in America. We've lived here for several years now. So it'll be interesting to see if our perspective is a little different from other Brits who actually live in the UK or in other parts of the world even. So please, if you have any thoughts or opinions on this as we go through, drop them in the comment section below. We'd love to hear them.
Dara is actually American, but she's a hugely enthusiastic Anglophile and actually lives part of the year in the UK. But does that necessarily mean that we're going to agree with everything she says? Let's find out.
This is a video I didn't want to make, but the members of the Magenta Otter tribe demanded it, so I'm doing it anyway. This topic was suggested to me by one loyal subscriber who has brought up several times a phrase he can't stand. So I thought I'll just do a little community post and ask my many British subscribers, because most of my subscribers are British, what other things they are bugged by that Americans say. And oh boy, did I get a response. So normally when I do a community post, I'll get 5 or 10 responses. This time I got 200. Whoo, looks like I hit a nerve.
So why do you think there is this negativity towards American English from a British perspective?
Americans have spread their culture worldwide for many years. When they start interfering with our language, it's our language. We did start it.
It's our idea.
Yeah, we get a little bit miffed. I don't think it's right we should get angry, but a lot of us do. We see our language, our accent, our culture being diluted by Americanisms, and we're in fear of that.
I kind of have two different perspectives on this. On one hand, I can see that language has always changed and always evolved. On the other hand, I think this has been accelerated, as you say, because of movies and social media, the internet, American culture being so prevalent that people are now starting to really see this in their lifetime, whereas before you maybe wouldn't notice it so much.
No, it'd be more of a gradual sort of change.
And language, like you say, it's so much part of our identity and how we see ourselves. And I think there is a fear in Britain at the moment that our British identity is being overrun by many different cultures, not just America, but particularly language, by America. I don't think Americans are actually to blame for this though. You talk to Americans, they love British English.
Oh, they do. They don't want to change the way we speak.
No,
they love it.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're overtly trying to change us.
No one has ever said in the entire time that I've lived out here, you should speak more like us. So I think it's actually the responsibility of the British, particularly young British people, to preserve our language, celebrate our language and our words. There's different ways that you can celebrate your own culture without having to be negative about another culture.
I would like to talk about the feedback I received and the things I've heard grouped into 6 different sections. But the first of the 6 sections is pronunciation of words in a way Americans do that Britons just don't like. One common problem we have is place names. So many British place names are just hard to pronounce for Americans. What I've learned after 4 years of doing travel vlogs and publishing them is I try every time I go to a place to walk up to the ticket counter and say, how do you pronounce this place that we're at?
I think what Dara does is great. She really tries to get it right when she goes to these places. And I think British people do appreciate that. I think what really bugs British people is when people come and they don't seem to care. They'll just blatantly pronounce it how they want. And even when you tell them, actually, that's pronounced this way, they carry on. Like Edinburgh is one that you hear all the time.
I know, I hate that.
oh, it's just like people must tell you that that's wrong.
That's wrong. That's so wrong. Don't do it.
Yeah. So I think don't be scared if you visit Britain. We're not all super mean about it, but just go and try and embrace the interesting
if you
place
give it a
names.
go and you get it slightly wrong, the locals will be fine with it, or they'll just correct you nicely. But if you just keep on,
they'll
get a little bit hot under the collar about that, to be honest.
So in addition to place names, what else bugs Britons? What else makes them grumble? Must grumble. I'm wearing my Must Grumble shirt for the first time in a video.
You'll see we're also rocking our Must Grumble t-shirts today. They are fantastic. They're super comfy, super nice to wear.
Yeah, they're a lovely fit. I love it when t-shirts are fitted. I hate the baggy.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is like the women's version.
We'll put a link to Dara's new shop in the description below in case you want your own Must Grumble t-shirt or another one that's available on her site. Check them out. They're great.
And Dara didn't send us this as a bribe. We actually wanted to buy them. So don't think, oh, she sent them those t-shirts so they'd be kind to her.
But another category of things that Americans say in a way Britons don't love is herbs. We say herbs instead of herbs, and then when you get to those specific herbs, we say those in a way that grates people's gears, like basil instead of basil, oregano instead of oregano, maybe even rosemary instead of rosemary. I don't know. You tell me, have you ever noticed how someone says rosemary who's American?
Herbs and herbal, I absolutely hate. When at work, one of the refreshments on offer is herbal tea. Oh, I'll have the herbal tea, please. I'm trying to smile, but there's far more of a grimace there because it really does grate.
Okay, section number 2 is habits or behaviors. The biggest thing that came up was the habit of saying, have a nice day. So let's say you're at a shop, you buy something, you're checking out at the till and you're getting ready to leave and you say to the cashier, have a nice day. Boy, that bugs a lot of British people because they think it's insincere. Just to throw it back at you, I could say the same thing with, are you all right? Or you all right? When I walk into a shop in Britain and I'm looking to buy something and the person working in the shop says to me, you all right? They don't really care if I'm all right. They don't care about the state of my mental or physical health, and they're not inquiring in such a way that they want an answer. Oi, my rheumatism is flaring up something horrible today. They don't want to know that. They just want to know, may I help you?
Okay, so the have a nice day. There is something a lot worse than that that has crept in over here.
I already know what it is.
Have a nice rest of your day. You know, if it's already, past morning or whatever.
Yeah, after about 11:30.
Oh my goodness, does that great. I can cope with have a nice day if people mean it, but have a nice rest of your day? That's just a silly thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't really flow, does it? I wonder if it came in because maybe people felt like have a nice day was somehow insincere and have a nice rest of your day was just kind of something a bit different to say, or whether it kind of feels a bit silly wishing people a nice day at 6 p.m. in the evening, so they needed something else. I just think what's wonderful about the two phrases Dara mentioned, have a nice day and are you right?
Yeah.
Is just how they reflect our culture and our different outlooks in the world. In Britain, the best we can hope for is being all right. If you're all right, then it's kind of
everything's okay. Yeah.
You don't expect
you don't expect anything more, really.
No. But in America, it's have a nice day with a lovely big smile.
It's like jolly. Yeah.
Group 3 is overused words. One thing that grates the gears of British people is when Americans say the word awesome all the time. I am so guilty of this. And I think that a lot of people who are just positive, upbeat people who are trying to be nice will say awesome. It's just a word that we grow up saying in a supportive kind of way. If you are a British person who's bugged by Americans saying awesome too often, I would implore you to just find it within your fuzzy little heart to be okay with that.
Speaking of younger British people using American words, this is one that I kind of adopted when I was a teenager, so it's been used for a time, not to date myself. I remember my granddad saying to me, why are you saying that for things that are just kind of average? What are you going to say when something really is awesome?
Right.
Kind of like leaves you with like a language gap. We need another word that means like super duper awesome.
There are also some phrases that have come up recently among younger Americans that are just said all the time. Like whenever someone's excited about something, they'll say, "Let's go." I think that's just, again, a positive, enthusiastic phrase, and it's going to bug some British people, but they need to just chill a little bit, I think.
I think beyond language even, American enthusiasm is something that bugs British people who are more kind of understated, you know, when they do the standing ovations and cheering and whooping and all of that.
Oh yeah, the whooping.
It's something that seems to really bother British people.
Yeah. In the past, it was considered bad form, bad manners.
To express too much emotion.
Yeah,
it's
exactly. Rein it in. And I think those old-fashioned values are kind of still there beneath the surface. It's just considered embarrassing and just OTT.
This British person said, "Hey, don't call British villages cute or quaint or red phone boxes cute or quaint." They just found that hugely disrespectful and inappropriate. So while honestly, I think that is an overreaction, I do try to veer away from saying that.
Some people think that using those sort of words comes over as patronizing. The Americans are saying, "Oh, everything's big in America, but oh, what a quaint little town.
Yeah.
It's so cute." It's like, "Aw,
Oh, bless them.
bless them."
Yeah, in their little town with their little ways.
Yeah. So I think that's the perspective that makes some Brits angry.
So now I have to get to the phrase that Choppy from Whitehaven brought up and has asked me about again and again, saying, "Please film this video." He can't stand it when Americans use the phrase bad boys, and specifically referring to food that they're going to eat. I'm not sure, Choppy, why does this bug you? Does it sound like cannibalism that we're eating bad boys?
I say bad boys a lot, especially when I was younger, but still definitely now. And I don't just use it to refer to food.
And your sister does too.
Yeah.
So yeah, oh, let's try this bad boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not just food though,
Yeah,
anything, you know.
anything.
It's kind of a sort of quirky, funny little aside, isn't it?
It's just fun. It doesn't bother me at all. I mean, I didn't even completely realise it was American, you know, because it's something that we use so commonly, especially, you know, kind of teenagers and when we were young adults. You know, I'd use it for like, maybe I'm packing my suitcase and like, just put these bad boys in there, you know.
And now for group 4, grammar mistakes. I can understand this being irritating. I'm irritated by grammar mistakes too. Although I think there are some grammar mistakes that British people think are grammar or word mistakes, where actually both versions are correct and one is used in the US and one is used in the UK. My first thing that I'll bring up that bugs me is when people say of when they mean have. I would have done that as well, instead of I would have done that as well.
I, like Dara, get very niggled when people make grammatical mistakes.
I don't think I'm as bothered by it as you are.
I'm probably old school.
Old school,
Very old school,
yeah, exactly. I mean, grammar rules really were only finalised by people coming up with these rules themselves.
But they are there.
Know.
Rules are meant to be adhered to.
But like Dara says, there are different grammar rules sometimes in America.
Yes.
So it just goes to show like these things are flexible. And I think British people do sometimes think that British English is the superior form of the language, the pure form of the language, and American English is kind of a bastardization of that, which of course is not correct because there are different rules in America, and when people are speaking American English out here, that is correct. One interesting little piece of American grammar that I only noticed after we started doing YouTube was gotten as the past participle, I believe, of get. If you're an American YouTuber, you can look at this too. If you go into the YouTube studio, it'll say, this video has gotten however many views since published or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's terrible grammar. YouTube really needs to fix that. It's American grammar, at its finest.
I think it is one of the words that do niggle some Brits too, because I've heard people complain about it.
Yeah, because to our ears it sounds obviously incorrect.
So YouTube did have it right, but only for the American contingency.
If you're a YouTuber in Britain, go onto the YouTube studio and see if it says the American version or whether they've changed it to appease us Brits. Who'd probably be outraged.
Yeah, of course. It doesn't take much to outrage us
really
Brits.
Doesn't,
no.
I don't know that this is really a grammar mistake. I think it's more a terminology mistake. The Queen of England, the King of England. I think what's confusing to us, I've just been sitting here editing videos about Henry VIII and his wives for weeks. And when referring to that time period, it was kings and queens of England. Now, Charles III is King of the United Kingdom. He's not just the King of England.
Some Americans get confused about what constitutes the UK and what the difference is between England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And actually, we made a handy little video about that very subject. So if it is worrying you, see the link in the description.
Yeah, if you can't sleep at night for trying to figure this out, we've got you covered.
Recently, somebody said to me, is Wales in England or is it a different country? So it all gets a bit confusing, I think.
Yeah, I think so. That probably does bother British people, particularly those
from Wales.
Wales or Scotland. Yeah, if you get it wrong and refer to everyone as English, for example, that might cause some offence. But I do understand that it's confusing, and as Dara says, it's changed throughout time as well. I do understand. I just appreciate when people try, like people take an interest in, try and
they're
get it right.
genuinely interested, and which is lovely.
Group 5 is words that are not words. I first encountered this one during the pandemic when we were saying all the time, we're going through this lockdown and there's just no sense of normalcy anymore. When are we going to return to some kind of normalcy? That is the American word. I understand it to be a correct word, but to Britons, it is not correct. It's wildly incorrect and wrong and irritating because they say normality.
Normalcy, for us Brits, is not a normal word.
That is the correct word in America. We can verify that. So we just kind of have to accept that one, I think.
So that's us being all superior, isn't it? And saying, oh, that's not a normal word.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but wouldn't it be boring if everyone kind of spoke the same?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm not a fan of the word.
Yeah.
And I would never ever use it, but I understand that it is an American word and should be used. So thank you for making that clear to us, Dara.
Yes, we're learning too, for sure.
Yeah, indeed.
So why not tell us what you think in the comment section below? Do you agree with us? Are there any other Americanisms that kind of grind your gears? Or are there some phrases that us Brits use that you find annoying? That maybe we haven't even thought about? Please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.
We really appreciate you watching this video. Thank you. And if you enjoyed it, give us a like and subscribe to us on YouTube.